Hello One Piece enthusiast, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about the Ape Ape no Mi and the importance of the immortal surgery. Now, as of chapter 1063, Law went to a little bit of skirmish with the Blackbeard pirates, and he seems to be in trouble. It doesn't suggest as much, but it's likely that he won't make it out alive. If you want to know a little bit more on that, go watch my chapter review, it's great. And also make sure to like and subscribe because it helps the channel out a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. So the Ape Ape no Mi and its significance has been talked about a lot ever since Dressrosa. We haven't mentioned much, but in Dressrosa it was said clearly that the Ape Ape no Mi has one of the highest bounty on a fruit can ever have, a devil fruit can ever have. And when Doflamingo mentioned that if I don't get the immortal surgery from you, I wouldn't be able to get my hands on the national treasure in Marizua, and that goes to show how important the fruit is. So the national treasure in and of itself we have no idea about, but I did speculate on my Im-sama and the whole power thingy that I did speculate that whatever that weapon was had something to do with the national treasure and also with the giant straw hat and whatnot. And that's not the point. Point is, in order for Doflamingo or perhaps anyone to get there, the help of the immortal surgery would be basically allowing you to do it, which means it's a deadly path. To put it simply, it's a deadly path. There is likely chance that you will not make it, and having the immortal surgery helps you out a lot. With that being said, I did wonder about when the surgery would come into play, when Law would be using it, or with whom. So now I think it's about time because, as I speculated in my last video, Law is not going to make it out alive, at least not unharmed, and it is likely, highly likely, that after he makes it out alive, he's going to meet up with the Straw Hats, and that is the time when he will die. And that is almost a guarantee, in my opinion. I know Law fanboys and fangirls really don't want it to happen, but that's the reality. In order for Law to use the immortal surgery, he needs to die. And what better way fitting of Law's death than to use the immortal surgery after the skirmish with the Blackbeard pirates? Now, if any of you are rational, you guys would never say that Law would basically go unharmed, keeping all of the three-letter poneglyphs, and make it out alive with Blackbeard and almost half of his crew with crazy double fruit abilities. Anyways, that's beside the point. So, when it comes to the immortal surgery, I'm very hesitant to talk about it because, you guys probably don't know, but what I've seen so far, immortality is a very bad way to ruin an anime. It is speculated that Im-sama has the immortality surgery when she was 800 years ago or something. That could have happened. That makes her able to live throughout the 800 years, seeing through all of the void centuries, seeing through the poneglyphs, Joy Boy, and also ruling the entirety of the One Piece world as of right now. And then again, it could be turned around to be something completely different, but this would be nice. But another problem with the immortal surgery is specifically used on Luffy, because who else would you want, rather than the main character of the story, who is the bearer of freedom, to receive the immortal surgery so that hurdles could be crossed in his way? I really hate that. I really hate that because that would give Luffy eternal life, and the whole concept of eternal life is crazy to me. I never liked it. I don't like reincarnations. I don't like immortality. All these things makes the story sort of lose its authenticity, if you know what I mean. Because the always fear of death, the always fear of, this character might die, is always very frightening, and it creates some sort of a dramatic tension within the story that basically, makes us read the story in anticipation as to what could happen. When you close off that block that is basically creating most of the tension for your main cast or main characters, it makes it very hard. Now I'm talking from a writer's perspective because a lot of us who analyze One Piece, a lot of us who watch these series, who watch, you know, stuff like this, who loves to analyze in terms of the story and everything, we very much get into these stuff because this is what makes the story great from being, you know, pretty bad. But with that being said, the whole thing about immortality, I don't want it, but it's a likely possibility that Luffy gets it because look at his enemies. He's got Blackbeard. Blackbeard's got the Gura Gura no Mi, the Yami Yami no Mi, and again another third devil fruit. But that's not even the final hurdle. The final hurdle could also be Im-sama. Or even if it's Im-sama first, Blackbeard second, that is a lot to go over for Luffy. And in order for Luffy to achieve those hurdles, he needs to have some sort of a plot armor that basically can get him through that. Because even if he awakens, even if he is able to master Gear 5, master all 3 forms of Haki, I don't see him getting anywhere near close to achieving what he wants to achieve after becoming King of the Pirates. Then again, there could always be twists and turns everywhere you see because of Oda. Oda can spin things around any way he wants. And one of the best things that I believe the immortal surgery could happen is sort of like a wish or a promise that you get immortality, but for that, there is a certain amount of time you get, or there is a certain goal you want to achieve. That is why you get the immortal surgery. It could be spun in that way, because if Luffy leads an eternal life, I don't see how the story ends. I don't see a proper ending to the story. I always envisioned that Luffy would be having an execution the same way Roger did when he became Pirate King, because that's always very prevalent, and we've always been talking about Luffy's lifespan all over the years of One Piece. Ever since he got introduced to Gear 2nd, that it takes away his lifespan, then Ivankov with the hormones and everything that has to do with Gear 4, again, going back to Gear 2nd, everything we've seen for Luffy's transformation, for Luffy to be able to get to achieve heights that he never did, he had to have some sort of sacrifice. And that was always his lifespan. His lifespan was always the majority of the threat that allowed him to get over some of his biggest hurdles that he had in his entire journey. And if you nullify that, if you basically cancel out that lifespan thing from the story altogether, I don't know how it would feel for the rest of the story. It feels kind of meh to me. Now, then again, it could be spun around different ways, but the only person I see it getting is Luffy and no one else. Now, when should it be used? Law's having a skirmish with the Blackbeard pirates. Seemingly the Straw Hats are in Egghead. I don't see any way possible for Law to get to Egghead Island and then tell Luffy everything about it and then you're all good to go. You know how in a story you want dramatic tension and how I always complain about Wano not having that? I think when Luffy fights off against the world government or Blackbeard, that is the time when Law should appear. Law should appear only then, when Luffy is in trouble and is in dire need of help, that gets him through that skirmish. It helps Luffy through the battle. And Law, by sacrificing himself, allows Luffy to achieve victory over Blackbeard because, you know, Law couldn't do it. And if he gets to help Luffy out for taking out the big bad, why not? Excuse me. So that's my point. And when in the story would it take place? I don't know. I wanted it to be in a dramatic tension phase where it's do or die for Luffy, but it could happen anywhere. It could happen anywhere. Let's say that, you know, we're done with Egghead, Law is done with his fight with Blackbeard, he somehow makes it back alive, and he has to inform Luffy as to what he's seen with Blackbeard and his crew and give us some very detailed information. Another point, I think it was Mr. Morge or Joyboy Theories mentioned that Law is a doctor. We know Blackbeard has a weird body, and the only way to figuring out his secret is to know what his body actually is. Marco said his body is weird, but we didn't get the full extent of it, and I don't think Marco would be showing up anytime soon, especially to help out against Blackbeard. But Law can. Law, being a surgeon of death, being a doctor, he could easily be able to figure out what's wrong with Blackbeard and could relay the information to Luffy and the others that would allow them to beat Blackbeard. Again, these are all theories, but I know the immortal surgery has to be used. I don't want it to be Luffy, but I don't see another better candidate other than Luffy. If you guys, want to argue in the comment section, feel free to do so. I want to listen to your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.